Good evening, candidates, members, and to all in our viewing audience. Welcome to our Fulton County Commission District 5 Forum. South Metro Democratic Women's Council is a local chapter of the Georgia Federation of Democratic Women, which is a sister chapter of the Georgia Democratic Party. Our chapter was formed in 2014, and we meet on the fourth Thursday of each month at 7 p.m. Our area covers all 8 cities in South Fulton area and part of Southwest Atlanta. Our mission: 1, to engage women of South Fulton in a variety of political activities. 2, provide members with critical information regarding local issues. 3, organize education and voter registration activities for our community. You are now participating in one of these projects. 4, identify and encourage women to run for political office at all levels. Let us have a moment of silent meditation. Amen. Amen. Now I'd like to introduce the introduction of the forum rules by Gloria Jenkins. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores Thomas, for that
You're welcome.
great welcome and explaining our mission statement to our candidates. Look for this fan. When you see this fan, your time is up. If you continue to talk, you will be muted. The moderator will call on each candidate in the order she chooses. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer questions. If a candidate's name is called by another candidate, that candidate shall have the right to a rebuttal. Time for rebuttal shall be 2 minutes. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to make a closing statement. Are there any questions from the candidates regarding these rules? Okay, hearing none, I'd like to introduce Ms. Elise Fisher, one of our members and our treasurer, who is going to introduce a very special moderator. Thank you, Ms. Fisher.
Good evening to our participants and of course our members. I have the pleasure of introducing someone I know very well, my daughter, Elise Fisher. Elise is a natural innovator. She finds opportunities to promote positive change, even in the most ingrained institutions or mindsets. She is a professional certified coach. Her passion for helping others pursue individual growth, lead purposeful action, and drive sustained improvements began almost 20 years ago when she was selected as a charter member of GE Capital's Advanced Leadership and Facilitation Network, which is an internal group of highly valued associates entrusted to improve both executive coaching and workshop facilitation services for GE Capital C-suite leaders. She began her career over 30 years ago as a finance professional in GE's Financial Management Trainee Program. A confident and trusted advisor, Elise's experience with workforce change initiatives is her foundation for helping others lead through her both personal and professional transformation. She has planned and facilitated C-suite workshops and conclaves and coached executives of several prominent multinationals, including General Electric, Towers Perry, Accenture, Kraft Foods, AT&T, Sears Holding, and Nielsen's. Elise holds a bachelor's degree from Cornell University and a master's from the Darden Graduate School of Business. She is a certified practitioner of most personality and career assessment tools such as Myers-Briggs, DISC, and emotional intelligence. In addition to her professional coaching certification, she's a certified project management professional and a certified nonprofit professional. She serves on the executive board for several nonprofits, including Claudette's Kids Foundation, the South Fulton Economic Empowerment Foundation, the Town Creek Neighborhood Association, and the Cedar Grove Community Association. I now present Elise Fisher.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's such a treat to be introduced by you. Thank you. All right, so we will start with Mr. Kelly. Should you be elected this year? I'm sorry, before we get that, we'll start with Mr. Kelly and you can do your introduction. 2 minutes for your introduction.
Sure. Well, thank you all so much for having me. It's definitely my pleasure and my honor to be here in front of such a distinguished group of women. Just a note, I'm currently overcoming a cold, so please, if you hear me get a little nasally, I'm just overcoming a cold. But in any case, I'm a 17-year permanent resident of South Fulton County. I've been married to my beautiful wife for 9 years. We have 2 amazing kids. Lily Madison, she is 4, and 7 Levi, he will turn 2 actually in about 9 days. In terms of my educational history, I have a law degree from UGA. I have a master's in public administration also from UGA, so I'm a double dog in that aspect. I just finished my coursework to be a certified public manager, and I'll be graduating at the end of this month. And next month, I have 1 more class, and I'll be also a certified county official under ACCG, which is the Association of County Officials. In terms of my work history, I've been working at the county for 7 years. I started off under the clerk's office, under the county manager's office, as an employee working at the front desk. And some of you may know there's a person named Drake. He said, started from the bottom, now we're here. And one of the things that happens when you start at the bottom of something is that you begin to understand how the internal organization works. You just like a clock, you understand how it ticks. And once you understand how something ticks, you also understand what to do when it stops ticking. And there are a lot of things in Fulton County that have stopped ticking. And I'm offering myself a service to be one of those solutions to the problems that I'm currently seeing in Fulton County. I started working for the Board of Commissioner under the late and great Emma I. Darnell as a senior chief officer doing public policy. And if any of you know Commissioner Darnell, she did not play. When it came to policy, you need to make sure you had it right. And that's one of the things that I was in charge of, making sure that we had efficient and effective policies. I see my fans, so I'm going to stop talking. But I'm the current chief of staff under Commissioner Khadijah, and I would love to continue talking about my qualifications. Thank you so much, Ms. Jenkins.
Thank you. Commissioner Harrington, 2-minute introduction.
Thank you so much. My name is Marvin Harrington. Happy to be here with you all tonight. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to serve the residents of Fulton County over the last 8 years. We've done a lot of great things for our youth and for our seniors. And so I'm very proud to stand on my record of service to the community. I became a commissioner because of I was already serving my community. And so I don't think that becoming a commissioner is the time when you start serving. You start your service before. As commissioner, I have gotten summer internships for our youth in South Fulton since 2016. I just got another $500,000 approved for summer job training for our youth. We want to keep them busy during the summer. We want to keep them gainfully employed. I just got $1 million for veterans and started a Veterans Empowerment Committee. And so I am very proud of the work that we've done. We give away scholarships every year to children as part of my annual Black History Film Festival, but also as part of our It Takes a Village annual essay competition for college students. So again, I'm happy to stand on my record as commissioner, proud of the things that we have done to serve the community, and I hope to have the opportunity to continue to serve the residents of Fulton County and District 5. I'm a practicing attorney and have been a super lawyer, nominated as a super lawyer by my peers. And I believe having that knowledge as a lawyer that works in the court system brings an advantage or a different viewpoint to the Board of Commissioners. And so I'm happy to have that opportunity again to serve the residents of Fulton County and the residents of District 5.
Thank you. So now we'll move into the question phase, and there are many questions tonight all around varied topics such as communication, engagement, environment, equity, inclusion, safety. There are quite a few topics tonight. So we'll start with this first question, again with you, Mr. Kelly. Should you be elected this year, what do you plan to accomplish in your first term?
Before he answers, Ms. Moderator, will you let Mr. Harrington know that this fan represents that his time is finished?
I will, but Commissioner Harrington, my guess is you are not looking at the screen because we can see you driving. I will have to audibly tell you when your time's up.
Okay, yes, ma'am. I apologize. I did not. I'm trying to get to a stable location right now.
I get it, but we want you safe. So when she raises the flag, when she raises the fan, I'll notify you that your time is up.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Mr. Kelly, I'll repeat the question again. Should you be elected this year, what do you plan to accomplish in your first term?
Sure. Thank you so much. Well, one of the things I want to accomplish is first letting the constituents know that they have a commissioner that's always going to be available and prepared for every meeting that they invite me to ahead of time. So making sure that when it's time for a meeting that I'm there, I'm present, and you have my undivided attention. One of the things that I've seen since I've been in Fulton County, we have a lot of processes, such as even how the commissioners bring new agenda items that are not that don't have the full collaboration of not only the constituents, but also various parts of the department. So that's one of the things I really want to make sure that we become a more efficient and effective government, that we're not creating policies off of our emotions, our feelings, but we're truly creating policies that really impact our constituents. And then hopefully this won't be an issue, but it looks like it still will be. There are several issues that I believe that we should have been accomplished, such as the city of South Fulton having Wolf Creek, such as detention ponds being transferred, being maintained by Fulton County, sidewalks at Old National, sidewalks in Enon Road. Those are things that, we've been waiting for 7 years. It's a shame that we still have not gotten that done. If the travesty continues by January, that those are not done, those will be my first initiatives, because it's almost like cleaning up what the incumbent should have done already. But one of the things that I think outside of that, hopefully that will get done. But if it's not done, those will be my first priorities. Just making sure that those things that should have been done are done. Secondly, I think youth services and senior services will be my next big attack. We need a senior center, a multipurpose center in South Fulton County. We have people in Palmetto and Chattahoochee Hills that have to come drive so far to get to a full multipurpose center. So I definitely feel like we need one in South Fulton County. I see Ms. Gloria James.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Commissioner Harrington, same question. Should you be elected this year, what do you plan to accomplish in your next term?
Well, in my next term, I plan to accomplish
It appears we may have lost Commissioner Harrington. let us continue and hopefully he'll be back. Mr. Kelly, many voters are complaining about the lack of feedback or outreach throughout the district. How will you correct this problem?
You know what? I think it's really interesting. During time when it's time for election, everyone knows how to reach everybody, right? You guys, we get robocalls, we get text messages, we get signs out. And I think that we have the opportunity to do the same efforts, the same thing that it took to get your vote should be the same thing that it takes once we're elected. We don't stop having those systems just because election time is over. The same, and I've been looking into it, even though I don't have, the deep pockets of some of the candidates in this race, but, I've been looking into some of those same avenues and, it's not as expensive as you would think. And so my plan is the same way that we reach voters when it's time for us to ask you for your vote. Those same methods should be utilized when it's time to let you know that there's an important meeting happening, when there's important ordinances that are getting passed and that you need to be aware of. There is a responsibility for people to kind of, be aware of what's happening. But we as elected officials, prayerfully, I'll be in that group. We should be doing our best to make it easy for the constituent to know about the things that's going on. So I intend to utilize every avenue possible to make sure that the constituents and everyone that wants to know what's going on knows what's going on.
Thank you. Along those lines, what specifically did you or the team you worked for do to notify members in your district about this new redistrict area?
Sure. Currently, I'm not sure if you guys have seen, we are currently have been doing town halls. We've set up town halls, one in every single city. So right now that's Fairburn, Palmetto, Chattahoochee Hills, City of South Fulton, Union City, East Point. And so what we've been doing is that we've been pretty much bringing the information to everyone. Of course, we have the newsletter that goes out. Of course, we have the emails that go out. But also we want to make sure that we were accessible and present. And all those are on Zoom. And so if you missed any of them, you can jump on our Facebook or our website and see all those Zooms from each city that we've been bringing that information to.
Thank you. What factors resulted in the reconfiguring of Fulton County Commissioner Districts 5 and 6? Is this reconfiguring good or bad, and why?
Okay, so as you guys may or may not know, every 10 years the census happens. And so we had to, the maps had to be changed because if they didn't, it would violate the one man, one vote rule, and any election could possibly be overturned if the maps weren't changed to reflect the growth that happened. I'm not going to get into the political underbearings, but I will say that this map is a better map. This map puts us back in the position that we were in 2013. If you guys know what happened in 2013, Commissioner Emma Darnell was forced to run against Commissioner at the time, Bill Edwards. They had changed the map to dilute the vote. And so two Southern commissioners had to run against each other. And what happens is that South Fulton County lost the vote and lost their voice. Even though Commissioner Darnell, she's done a great job. In terms of having representation from someone that lived in South Fulton County, we haven't had that since 2013. This map, if you look at it, it's much cleaner lines, and it gives us the best possibilities for someone in South Fulton County to represent us where we live.
Thank you. You mentioned the census, and so I'll jump to this next question.
Sure.
For more than a decade, the percentage of population growth in South Fulton County has significantly outpaced that of North Fulton. Yet, the bulk of funding and the number of commissioners representing the North remains lopsided. They have more. What should we do to get our fair share of funding and an increase in the number of commissioners representing our community?
I think that's a great question. And that's kind of what I've been, preaching up and down the streets. We have 5 commissioners that live in Atlanta. We have 2 that live in North Fulton, and we have 0 that live in South Fulton County. I am currently the only candidate that lives in South Fulton County. I think it's almost a waste of having this new map if we're gonna just once again outsource our votes back to Atlanta, to someone that lives in Atlanta. We have an opportunity right now to have representation from someone that lives in South Fulton County. And as the only candidate, I have a passion for this area. I've been advocating for this area for the past 7 years that I've been here. And, I think it's time that we get the resources that we need. The people that's been in office right now are the same people that's been in office for the past 5-6 years, save, Commissioner Khadijah. And so if we haven't been getting the resources towards the South with the individuals that have been in office right now, there's a saying that, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is insanity. And so what I would say to everyone that is listening is that if we want different results, if we want resources to come down to the South side, then we need to change. We need to change how we're voting, and we need to vote for someone for a South Fulton voice, and that's Robert H. Kelly.
Thank you. So should you be elected to represent us, what specifically will you do to help us get our fair share of funding and get an increase in the number of commissioners representing our community?
Well, I think the voters, you guys can do that first part in electing me to as the representative for South Fulton County, because that would essentially increase the number of representatives we have in South Fulton County. What I would say in terms of getting adequate funding, and we actually started this process this past year. We have something called the CSP program, which is a community service program, where the county gives millions of dollars to nonprofits, North and South. And we realized that the ones South weren't getting the same amount of funding. So what we did is that we created a nonprofit, pretty much incubator, where our nonprofits can now come to this incubator and they can learn, what they may or may not be doing right, so that they can start getting the funding and be competitive to some of the other nonprofits that are in Atlanta and up north. And so what I want to do is not only get the CSP funding to come down, but also a lot more of the resources from the state and federal level. And that's also something that we've been working on as well, currently already, not as elected official, but as a chief of staff. And I know that, should I be elected, it will only expand my platform to bring more of those resources down to South Fulton County.
Thank you. Oh, welcome back, Mr. Harrington. We've reviewed about 6 questions, and so we'll walk through all 6 of them directly with you, and then we'll move to a back and forth situation. So that first question, should you be elected this year, what do you plan to accomplish in your next term?
Well, I plan to accomplish more of the same, working hard on behalf of the residents of Fulton County, providing more resources, working on criminal justice reform. I started the pre-arrest diversion program, brought that to Fulton County with, at that time, Councilmember Kwanzaa Hall. More money for veterans, more money for seniors, more resources for our youth, continuing to make sure that we provide jobs for our youth and that they have opportunities so that they can help stay out of trouble. Our youth are 10% of our population, but they're 90% of our future. And so I concentrate a lot of time on helping our youth, but our youth and our seniors are important because they are our most fragile. And so we have to take care of those who took care of us and make sure that we provide for them. Which is one of the reasons why I established a Veterans Empowerment Commission and got $1 million for veteran services in Fulton County. And so for me, it's more of the same, more of providing resources, more of bringing resources and opportunities to Fulton County and the residents of District 5. District 5 has now changed, and if there, has not been something or a lack of something in the area, that's the area where my opponent serves. And so if he hasn't provided something for his area, then that's his fault and the fault of the commissioner for who he's working with. But in my area, we are providing the resources, we're working with council members, and we're establishing relationships. You can't get anything done if you don't have any relationships, if others don't work well, if you don't work well with others and others don't work well with you. You
Thank
have
you.
to have good relationships.
Thank you. Next question. Many voters are complaining about the lack of feedback or outreach throughout the district. How will you correct this problem?
I am unaware about voters about a lack of communication in the district. I think that is a loaded question because the districts have changed. And so I communicate frequently to the members of the current District 5. As a rule of common courtesy, commissioners typically don't communicate outside of their lines. Commissioner Darnell would have given me a whooping if I was trying to do something in her district. And so I would always respect her and her district lines, but I communicate very well with the members of my district. They all say that they're happy to get my newsletter and they're happy to see and hear about the different activities that we're doing on an annual basis. In addition to helping with the commission, I have 5 signature events. Annual Black History Festival, Black History Film Festival, where we give away scholarships to high school students in an essay and video competition. We also do an annual summer writing program called Right to Rise, where we give away $1,000 to middle and high school students. And we do our It Takes a Village drive every year, where we give away $5,000 or 10 $500 scholarships to college students. And so those are things that I do outside or directly from my office, not really part of my duties as Fulton County Commissioner, but part of my greater duty to society to give back. And so we do our annual Blanket Atlanta with Love drive. And my favorite is our Dads, Daughters, Dolls, and Sons drive, where we give toys to the inmates of toys to the children of inmates at the Fulton County Jail. Just because their parents are locked up for Christmas doesn't mean that those children shouldn't get toys. And so those are 5 annual initiatives that I run in my office and will continue to run in my office if I am so chosen to serve the residents of District 5.
Thank you. Next question. What factors resulted in the reconfiguring of Fulton County Commissioner Districts 5 and 6? Is this good or bad, and why?
Well, I think it is what it is. It's been adopted by the state legislature. What happened, we had one Democrat that worked at the State House, Misha Maynard, and one Democratic commissioner, Khadijah Abdul-Rahman, who circumvented the entire Democratic delegation. The Democratic delegation submitted a local bill. All other redistricting plans around the state, or most 95% of all redistricting plans around the state, were introduced by local bill. These 2 individuals who say that they are Democrats worked with the Republicans to redraw the lines and circumvent, again, the entire Democratic delegation, House and Senate. David Dreyer, Sonia Halpern, all were just completely circumvented. So it is what it is. The districts are what they are. Before, I represented an area that included Southwest Atlanta, parts of Districts 2 and 3 in the city of South Fulton, 90% of East Point, and most of East Atlanta. And so now I have the District 5 has been reconfigured. And so that is just a new district. Chattahoochee, it includes Chattahoochee Hills, Palmetto, Union City, Fairburn. And so it's just different people, different constituents that you have to reach out to and serve. I think, you're serving Fulton County. You're there, you're elected from a district, but you're there to represent the entire county. And so, I don't know that it will change much, or that it won't necessarily have much impact. It is odd to see the way the numbers are numbered: 1, 2, 3, 6, 4, 5. Is kind of an odd configuration of numbers, but it is what it is.
Thank you. For more than a decade, the percentage of population growth in South Fulton County has significantly outpaced that of North Fulton. Yet the bulk of funding and the number of commissioners representing the North remains lopsided. They have more. What should we do to get our fair share of funding and get an increase in the number of commissioners representing our community?
I don't know that I agree with the premise that more money from Fulton County is going to the north side than the south side. Certainly I am there always, and sometimes I have to pound my fist on the table to make sure that we have equity. And equity sometimes goes beyond equality. Equality means making things equal. Sometimes in order to make it equitable, you might have to give more to one person or party than the other. And so I am always demanding equity. Anytime there's something being done on the north side, I want to make sure that we get the same amount of money and resources for the south side. So for example, when Commissioner Hausman asked for $2 million for the Roswell Library, for to add as an additional add-on, I got $2 million as an additional add-on for the East Point Library. And so I try to make sure that we always have equity between North Fulton and South Fulton. Sometimes it depends on your perspective. One of the things that we hear, or that I hear in the meetings from the Northern Commissioners as it relates to the city of South Fulton, hey, wait a minute, they didn't get, why are they getting that? The northern cities didn't get that when they left. And in fact, the northern cities were treated so badly that they had to go to the state to get the law changed so that they could get the fire stations for $5,000 and get the parks for $100. So it makes sense that they push back, but the city of South Fulton was the last city that we had to transfer. And so there were a lot of things that we just would not use anymore. And so we willingly gave those to the city of South Fulton, mostly at a nominal cost of $1, or, however, as outlined in the statute. Fire stations, again, are $5,000, parks are $100 an acre.
Got it. Thank you. And then this one last question that we gave to your competitor that you haven't received yet. What specifically did you do to notify voters in your district about the redistrict areas?
I made posts. I included it in my monthly newsletter. I included it on my social media posts. It is, we knew that the districts were going to change. However, the commissioners voted to keep the districts. The commissioners voted unanimously, 7-0, to keep the districts in their former form, which would have kept the districts about 90 to 95% as they were, or as they currently exist. And so once I found out that the districts were new, we did what we could to inform the districts, the residents of the current District 5, and then set out to meet and introduce ourselves to the residents of the new District 5, to let them know about the good works and the things that we've done as commissioner, just as the residents in our current district know of the good works and the things that we've done and the track record that we have of serving the community.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Kelly. It's been said that there was a huge delay in distributing of the American Rescue Plan funds in Fulton County overall, and particularly South Fulton County. What caused that delay?
So first I'll say this is what I talk about when I refer to having people that learn and understand what's going on. We had an American Rescue Plan, and our office specifically was one of the people that actually started when it was in Washington, brought it down, and studied exactly what was supposed to happen, knew the rules, and then rewrote the legislation. When we went to pass it, Commissioner Harrington specifically, he walked out 2 times, and was the reason why the implementation of it did not pass. We could have had, mortgage assistance last year. We could have had small business assistance last year. We could have had nonprofit assistance last year if Commissioner Harrington had not walked out 2 times when that vote was going to be passed. And so, when we talk about why certain things didn't make it to our communities last year, and then mind you, when he did it like he's laughing now, he laughed and mocked and said that we said that the sky was falling. But what he didn't realize is that for many people in District 5, the sky did fall. We had many businesses where the sky did fall in our neighborhood while he's laughing. We had many people that own small businesses that closed down because he walked out. And so when you don't take your job seriously enough to understand that when you walk out of a meeting 2 times because you're upset with another commissioner, that there are consequences for that. And so, yes, we have it now this year, but there are people that lost their houses last year. There are businesses that closed last year that fall at Marvin Harrington's feet. And I think that those are the things that he has to answer for.
Thank you for your response. Commissioner Arrington, 2-minute rebuttal.
Thank you. No one lost any money, any American Rescue Plan funds money. What Mr. Kelly is talking about, and I'll tell you exactly what happened. Commissioner Khadijah Abdul-Rahman, Commissioner Hall, and I met for about 6 hours coming up with the way that we wanted to spend the money on American Rescue Plan Fund. And we said that we would submit the bill and it would be all 3 of us submitted it. Commissioner Rockman removed my name, removed Commissioner Hall's name from the bill, and put in there what she wanted to put in there, and completely neglected to work with her colleagues. And even though we had taken the time to spend 6 hours going through what we were going to do. And so what Mr. Kelly is referencing is the fact that the plan proposed by Commissioner Rockman did not get passed. The money got spent last year. We have provided over $85 million worth of eviction assistance to residents in Fulton County for the last 2 years, in 20 and in 2021. And we just got an additional $50 million for rental assistance in Fulton County. The state has available $345 million currently for mortgage assistance, which not only includes mortgage assistance, but it also includes payment of back HOA dues and back utilities. And you can find out more about that at georgiamortgageassistance.ga.gov. But
Thank
there's no one in the county has missed any money. And Mr. Kelly and Commissioner Rockman were just mad that their plan did not get passed. But in order to get a plan passed, you have to have 4 votes. And so when you remove 2 people from the bill that you took time to meet with you and talk about and plan out how we were going to try to get the money, then you lose those 2 votes. And so your plan doesn't get passed and a different plan does.
Thank you.
Let
me just remind you that this is a forum, not a debate, right? And in the interest of time and all the different questions we have, please just be mindful of that. Let's stick with you, Commissioner Arrington.
Ms. Fisher, may I rebuttal since he said my name according to the rules?
No, he was rebutting you.
I'll take it. Thank you.
Commissioner Arrington, can you provide 2 examples of successfully working across multiple jurisdictions or organizations or companies? What were the successes and failures, and what did you learn?
Absolutely. I started a nonprofit called the HOA Alliance, and we have started that nonprofit right here in the city of South Fulton. We thought that we would have 200 people show up, and we had over 700 people show up from DeKalb and Clayton and all over, including from the city of South Fulton, East Point, and surrounding cities. And so what I've done, I've grown that this nonprofit, and so we host HOA boot camps in 8 or 9 counties: DeKalb, Rockdale, Fayette, Cobb, Clayton, Henry. And so we built relationships with commissioners in the surrounding counties and hosted HOA boot camps with them. Additionally, I've just been reelected as the president of the Georgia Association of Black County Officials by my peers and colleagues from the 159 counties throughout the state. They elected me because of my ability to work well with others. They elected me because of my leadership ability. And they elected me because of my service to the community. And they've seen the work that I've done. And so I think those are 2 good examples of how I've worked across community and county lines for the betterment of the people. What's good for the people in DeKalb is good for the people in Fulton.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, same question. Give 2 examples of you successfully working across multiple jurisdictions or organizations or companies? What were the successes and failures, and what did you learn?
Sure. So this past year, I served on the committee that aided in the creation of the IGA to create the Center for Diversion and Diversion Services, so the IGA to create the Diversion Center. That was a partnership between the state and City of Atlanta and the county, which, as many people know, that those three entities have not come together in such a way in a very long time. And so to be able to sit on the committee that developed the IGA, that walked across all three of those agencies that have been at head for many, many years and come together to create something that is going to be so monumental. This is the opportunity for us to reimagine how we do criminal justice in Fulton County. You know, well, we're talking about homelessness, we're talking about mental health and substance abuse, where people will no longer be going to jail, you know, when for low offending crimes, when they could, and when all they need is wraparound services. And so, you know, it was my pleasure to serve and collaborate across all those entities to make something beautiful happen. Another opportunity that I had this year, which was pretty amazing, is once the American, some of the funds did come down from the American Rescue Plan, we realized that, you know, when the rental assistance came down, it wasn't actually hitting its intended audience. People were still getting evicted. And so what I was able to do was spearhead a program that we call Program Safe, where we actually put caseworkers in the courtroom, in the magistrate court. And by doing that, at the time where people would actually get evicted, they were able to intercept those evictions at the time of the eviction. And that resulted in 500 families, you know, getting relief to the tune of almost $5 million.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. You mentioned mental health, so we'll move on to this next question, and we'll start with you, Mr. Kelly.
Sure.
Recently, there's been a lot of discussion about greater funding for mental health in the state of Georgia. What's your view on this? And how do the rights of hospitalized mental patients differ from those jailed or in prison?
All right, say that last part for me again. I'm sorry. How do the rights
of hospitalized mental health patients differ from the rights of those who are jailed or in prison?
Got it. You know, I think that is something that, this is something that our office is currently working on now. We're actually having a mental health fair at the end of this month at the Stonewall Hotel. So please look out for that as well. But, you know, in our community, that's something that for a lot of places is still taboo. And I think it's something that we need more awareness about. And not only just mental health, but one of my passions is getting the children that are undiagnosed in our schools that may have, whether it's behavioral issues or intellectual disability issues, getting those diagnosed and dealt with at an early age. But to answer the second part of your question, you know, we see that a lot of times those incarcerated don't get the same amount of treatment. They don't get the same amount of help that they need because they're simply incarcerated. And I think that's a definite area that we can begin looking at, and we should begin looking at, to make sure that there is parity in how people all across the state, regardless of where you happen to be located and what your current disposition happens to be, that you're getting the help and services that you need.
Thank you. Commissioner Harrington, same question. Recently, there's been a lot of discussion about greater funding for mental health in the state of Georgia. What's your view on this? And how do the rights of hospitalized mental health patients differ from the rights of those jailed or in prison?
Well, thank you. Yes, I think everyone is paying more attention to mental health, and certainly the allocation of additional resources, both financial and non-financial, is essential. I think if you talk to our sheriff, you'll find out that about 70% of the people in the jail have some sort of mental health condition or challenge. And in fact, our jail is the #1 mental health facility in the state of Georgia. And that's unfortunate. Those people should be diverted for wraparound and alternate services. You know, and that's part of the criminal justice reform that is needed. and part of why we started the pre-arrest diversion program.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, have you ever worked with a lobbyist? If so, what was the nature of the engagement?
I have not, just, straight up the bat, I have not done much work with lobbyists. It's something, that I'm open to, but just my flat out answer is that no, I haven't done much work with lobbyists.
Thank you. Commissioner Arrington, how are individual commission district budgets determined? What could change about this methodology?
The district budgets are set at a certain amount. I believe the amount was $50,000 per year. And so each commissioner has the same budget. And I think it's 50,000. I think maybe the travel was increased. I think it was increased to a total of 50,000 per year per commissioner.
Okay. Would you recommend any changes to how these budgets are determined?
The budget amount was recently increased maybe a year or two ago for commission budgets, and I believe Commissioner Hall made the motion, and I think I made a friendly amendment to it. I would like to see commissioners have larger budgets, but because I believe commissioners have their pulse on the community and they can benefit their community perhaps better than a larger program. A lot of times we have these larger companies that wind up getting the same money time and time again. And there are a lot of good nonprofits that may not be well known, but they're doing the real, actual behind the scenes work every day. And so the challenge is, putting them on the front so that they can be seen.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, how will you engage and protect the seniors in your district?
I think that one of the things that I would definitely want to help the seniors do, and I think we have some classes, but I think that there's definitely an opportunity to get them more engaged with technology. I've seen a lot of seniors in the past, even from when I was working on other commission districts. One of the things that a lot of our seniors happen to be more susceptible to, unfortunately, is people scamming them, whether it's from phones, from their Facebook. And so just having more education classes, letting them know, hey, these are some of the scams, these are some of the IT issues where people can come, and if you're not aware, just using your phone or using your laptop, that maybe you may not be as aware of what some of the scams may look like. And that's a big increase of what we see happening across the state and as a whole, is seniors becoming the victim of scammers, people that are scamming them electronically. So that's one of the things that I definitely want to help our seniors do, is become more technologically savvy, but also letting them be aware of some of the dangers that are out there. I think we also need to increase in programs for our seniors, and making sure that they have everything that they need in terms of transportation. I know that the travel is they have the kind of Uber Lyft program that was going on, but just making sure that when it comes to our seniors, that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that they are protected in using those services.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner, same question. How will you engage and protect the seniors in your district?
Well, again, I think more about doing more of the same. I have been proud to work with the seniors at the Bowden Center to make sure that they got the resources that they needed. I was proud to work with our Bethlehem Senior Center. We had to find them a new location at the Burdine Center, and we did that, and we did it in a manner that made sense and in a time-efficient manner. One of the other things that I did, we had our art centers that were empty during the day while our students were at school. And so I created the Living Out Loud Arts program, which allowed our seniors to come into our art centers and take computer classes and take art classes during the day while the art centers were empty and again, the students were at school. And so it's about being innovative. It's about being creative. And I think that I have shown that through the years. Again, the Living Out Loud program was a great program that I introduced. And it gave seniors, again, the opportunity during the day to take advantage of underutilized county facilities, our libraries, our art centers, and it also gave them something to do. So for me, it's more of the same, taking care of our seniors, making sure that they have the resources that they need. The Bowden Center is one of our flagships, and we're looking forward to building a new senior center in the city of South Fulton. Very excited about that. I think that we have plans to do that right on Stonewall Tail across from our South Annex. And so that will be a great opportunity for the seniors in the city of South Fulton, but also for seniors in other surrounding cities. Just as at Bowden, we get more than just East Point seniors at the Bowden Center. And it's been, again, my pleasure to serve them and work with them at all of their events and support the things that they do there.
Thank you. New question for you, Commissioner. Many people believe that the affordable housing issue is specific to the city of Atlanta and are very concerned about efforts to push people out of Atlanta and areas further north into the communities of South Fulton County. Currently, how real is the issue of affordable housing in this district? And what actions do you intend to take on this matter of affordable housing?
Thank you so much. I am so glad that you asked that question. I have already begun taking steps. We have purchased 5 hotels on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. Number one, for the purpose of getting rid of sex trafficking, or at least displacing it. I don't know that we can get rid of it, but we can displace it from Fulton Industrial. So we bought 5 hotels in my direction on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. We spent about $30 million procuring those hotels. And we're going to use them for veterans housing. We're going to use them for workforce housing. We're going to use them for affordable housing. And we're going to, hopefully, we also bought a restaurant and we also bought a gas station so that we can have a true ecosystem where people can live, work, and play all in one place. There may be also some short-term housing and some long-term housing. Some people need short-term housing just to get back on their feet, and others need long-term housing. But with the 5 hotel properties that I helped spearhead the county purchasing on Fulton Industrial, it will be a great opportunity. We need more affordable housing all throughout the city, but starting and making a difference on Fulton Industrial, I think is the first logical step. I am certainly for affordable housing. We just have to make sure that we're being thoughtful, and we have to think about unintended consequences. Everyone wants affordable housing, but a lot of people don't want it next to their house. And so we have to be thoughtful about how we provide affordable housing. We have to have real planning and make sure we do it in a way that is conducive and receptive by the constituents in the district.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, same question. Many people believe that the affordable housing issue is specific to the city of Atlanta and are very concerned about efforts to push people out of Atlanta and areas further north into the communities of South Fulton County. Currently, from your perspective, how real is the issue of affordable housing in this district, and what actions do you intend to take on this matter of affordable housing?
Thank you so much. I think that is a very good question. I'll just I'll leave that comment. But I'll say this: when it comes to affordable housing, I think that just because it's affordable doesn't mean that we should just throw it anywhere. I don't think that anyone would want to live on Fulton Industrial Boulevard. I think that if we're going to do affordable housing, it needs to be in safe and quiet communities, just like anyone else would want to live in. Just because people may not be able to afford a higher tax bracket house does not mean that we should put them just anywhere. I think that one of the things that when it comes to affordable housing, what we need to also be looking at, because it's an issue, but it's not one that is going to be fixed simply by policy. I think that what we also need to be looking at is how do we raise the income level of a lot of our constituents in District 6 by doing job training, by having smart ideas like, can we find ways to provide daycare, for single mothers that may need to get that extra education that would help them to get to that next level bracket where they could, afford a nice home. So I think it's a combination. It's not just not building houses that are cheaper, but also helping our people in our area in District 5 now to learn and be able to acquire the skills and the jobs that can put them in that higher bracket so that they can afford, to live where they want to live and not, just be thrown on Fulton Industrial. Because I wouldn't want my mom to live there. I wouldn't want my sister to live there. And so I wouldn't advocate for anyone to live on Fulton Industrial Boulevard.
Thank you. New question. What is your thought, and we'll stick with you, Mr. Kelly.
Sure.
What is your thought on having a citizen outreach committee to assist you in getting information to citizens in your district? And if something you choose to do, how would you go about creating such a committee?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
What is your thought on having a citizen outreach committee to assist you in getting information to citizens in your district? And if that is something you choose to pursue, how would you go about creating such a committee?
I'm all about innovative ideas, how to get, different ones out to people. Currently, we use nonprofits to get messages out to people. We use our various boards to get information out to people. But so what I would do is that if I was going to create such a board, since it's been proposed, I would try to get into community leaders, people that already have and know, have groups of people that they already speak to, and people that they already kind of their sphere of influence. And then I would kind of group all those group leaders and put them in a group chat, put them in a group meeting, and then I would disseminate information to them and have it kind of trickle through their own channels. Similar to how any kind of marketing branch does, where you have one individual and you kind of tear it off. In that same situation, it's leveraging, the strength of people and their networks to spread the word through their networks and so on and so forth.
Thank you. Commissioner Arrington, same question. What is your thought on having a citizen outreach committee to assist you in getting information to citizens in your district? If it's something you choose to pursue, how would you go about creating such a committee?
Well, thank you. I think it is a great idea, and I created one when I first took office back in 2015. We meet with those people once a quarter, and we ask them to provide monthly updates to our office. And so throughout my district, District 5, we have different people. One of the things I did, because the district was so diverse, when I held my town halls, I would always hold 3 town halls. I'd host one in the city of South Fulton, I'd host one in East Point, and then I would host one in Atlanta. And so I had, my committee was comprised of different people throughout the different areas of the district. And so I would do the same again. Yes, it is absolutely a great idea. It is essential to have feedback and input from the citizens and the constituents from whom you represent. And so I absolutely would do it. It makes perfect sense to do it. And, the citizens have the right. This is their seat.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, there has been lots of online chatter about your relationship with Commissioner Khadijah and the sources of funding for your campaign. What should the voting public know about this?
Commissioner Khadijah is my current boss. And so that's what they probably should know. And so we, in our office, we when it's office time, we work on office District 6 things. And when it's campaign time, I'm doing campaign related things. I'm very certain to keep the two separate. I'm someone that is always does my best to be integrous in everything that I do. My campaign disclosure form is up, so you can see everything that I brought in. It's 100% transparent and open. I've never heard a complaint or a question like that. That may be one of my competitors' people sending questions in. But yeah, in terms of that, I've never heard of anyone questioning that. But if anyone does have a question about that, you can look in my campaign disclosure form and see everything that I've done. And if you look at the amount of signage that I have out, you can tell that, you know, I have significantly less funds and I'm working with what I have. And I've been knocking on a lot of doors, meeting a lot of you. And I've actually enjoyed that part more than anything. So I don't mind that I have less money. My money's came from donations from all of the constituents. That's all that's used for my campaign. And so where I've lacked, I've knocked on doors to meet all the great people of District 5. I think you may be on mute, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you. Commissioner Arrington, without checking your voting record, but going on observation, it appears that you walk out of meetings a lot. Why is that?
I guess I would disagree with the premise that I walk out of meetings a lot. There are numerous reasons why someone, a commissioner, may walk out. It may be to get a cup of coffee, it may be to use the restroom, or it may be to make a point. But I have been present for over, I can count on one hand the number of board meetings that I've missed in 8 years. I have missed maybe 3 or 4 board meetings in 8 years. We meet twice a month on first and third Wednesdays, and I make it my business to be at those meetings. I even file leave of absences with court so that I do not have any court conflicts. And I make sure to do that at the beginning of the year so that whenever there's a Board of Commissioners meeting, I can be present to handle the business of the people.
Thank you. I'll stick with you, Commissioner. Next question. Have you identified any local environmental issues that as commissioner you would consider a major threat to this area? And if so, what would you do to help solve the problem?
So I have not identified any major environmental issues. I know we had the big scare a couple of years ago with some company that was emitting things out in South Fulton. We immediately called for an environmental study. We immediately paid for the environmental study, and I made the motion that we undertake that environmental study to see what, if any, impact. The company didn't care about us. The company didn't care about the residents of South Fulton, Southwest Atlanta, East Point. They just didn't care. They only cared about their bottom line. So I was responsive to the environmental issue that came up, and I hope that I would be as responsive to any other environmental issues that arise. Again, I have not found any or had any reported to me. Government, as you will see, is a lot of times responsive, and so we rely on constituents and people to bring those issues to us. And so I have not had any reports of any environmental issues, except for the one that we addressed by ordering the environmental study, and that was a couple of years ago, I think right before the pandemic.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, same question. Have you identified any local environmental issues that as commissioner you would consider a major threat to this area? And if so, how would you go about solving that problem?
Sure. One of them is the detention ponds that are in the city of South Fulton that are currently overgrown, and to the fact that literally there are snakes growing out of it And there are seniors in those areas that are even scared to go in their backyard. More from that, Fulton Industrial in 2017 was listed as the #1 environmental hotspot due to the fact that heavy truck traffic and the smog that came from it, you can actually determine, it was determined that you can actually determine the people, whether they would have asthma issues based on where you lived. There's airport issues with the airports being so close to residences' houses. There's noise pollution as well. So there's a host of environment issues that we should be considering and understanding how they are impacting our constituency. When you can literally tell people's lifespan based on their zip code, that's a problem, and that's happening in Fulton County. And in 2018, when I was working with Commissioner Darnell, we literally were able to determine that children that lived on the south side were more likely to have hospitalizations due to asthma from breathing because of the environmental issues in our area. And so I'm not sure where I will say like this. I saw the head, Ms. Fisher. I would just say that as a commissioner, those are one of the things that I would work hard to address, is to make sure that we are creating smart policies that deal with the environmental issues that we are indeed facing in our area.
Thank you. And I appreciate your discretion. Next question. It was reported recently that this district has the slowest emergency medical response times in the county and did not fare well in recent emergency weather-related activities. What would you do as commissioner to ensure that basic safety services such as 911 dispatch, emergency management, and public health services are improved? Mr. Kelly.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if that was up to me. I think that's something that's very important. I was just down in Chattahoochee Hills last week, and they were appalled at their EMS times and the time that they would have to actually travel to go all the way to Grady from, as you can imagine, from Chattahoochee Hills. One of our things that we have to do is be willing to create IGAs with other counties, whether it's Coweta, whether it's, especially for those areas, Palmetto and Chattahoochee Hills, if we don't believe that we have the ability to increase within our own personnel, the response times for those areas, then we should be willing to work out whatever IGA we need to work out with the surrounding counties to make sure that our people come first and their safety comes first. And that's one thing as commissioner that, especially that I've actually spoke to the people down in Chattahoochee Hills. That's something that they're adamant about. And so that's one of the first things that I want to work to do is to make sure that there's the times that people, it takes for people to get to the services that they need, that there's parity and that they get there in time to save their life for some of them.
Thank you. Commissioner, same question. It was reported recently that this district has the slowest emergency medical response times in the county and doesn't fare well after weather-related tragedies. What would you do as a commissioner to ensure the basic safety services such as 911 dispatch, emergency management, and public health services are improved?
Thank you. As commissioner, what I've done was call a meeting with Grady upon learning that Wellstar will be closing its metropolitan facility, calling upon Grady to see if they could purchase and use and operate the facility there in East Point. And also calling on Grady and asking him what is needed, because when you talk about unfair, when you talk about parity and equity, there are 12 hospitals in North Fulton, and there's 1 and now 0 in South Fulton. And so that is a real issue. It's not civil rights, this is human rights. We need access to healthcare, and we need it now. We need it not now, but right now. And so I'm willing to do whatever is necessary in order to make sure that we provide, that we have an additional hospital for the residents of South Fulton, and not 1, but 2 or 3, right? I mean, why can we just get 1? I mean, first we've got to get 1, But that's not enough. We need to have options. We need to have the same availability of healthcare that is available in North Fulton. And so I am committed to continuing that, committed to continuing to make sure that we have healthcare in South Fulton. And frankly, we've got to hold Wellstar to the carpet. They're a $1 billion company. They make $2 billion a year. They need to provide health care. And what they're not telling us is they're saying that they're going to close that and they're going to send everyone to AMC downtown. But what they're not telling you is they're going to close AMC downtown in 12 months. And so then there won't be anything available. And so we've got to hold them to the carpet. $1 billion company, they need to be providing health care and wellness in our community.
Thank you. Next question for you, Commissioner. We had a major environmental disaster with the landfill fire on Bishop Road that burned the latter part of 2018 and for most of 2019. As Commissioner, what role did you play in helping to address this problem?
I heard about this problem. Again, it was not in my district. I was there to support the district commissioner in any way possible. I believe that this occurred in District 6. And so I think the question would be more appropriate for the District 6 commissioner and staff. But again, I'm happy to help support any environmental issues or any environmental challenges, and to try to resolve them in an expeditious fashion.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, climate change and global warming is a major topic being debated on the national level. What is your stance on climate change, and what role do you think the commission should play in preparing citizens for the impact of climate change?
Thank you. I think that the environment, we only have one Earth. We only have one, we only get one shot at where we live. And I think that one of the things that we need to do is to start having smart and innovative ideas of how we're using the places that we have. One of the things that I wanted to, we already started kind of working on this past year is pitching the ideas of having green roofs, green rooftops, where, we have, what we do have a lot of in our areas is warehouses. And all that space that's on top of those warehouses is just blank space. And so one of the ideas that we've been trying to push and sell in is how can we start having, those type of gardens that actually will be on top of the, of these large warehouses that are being built. They're already there. And so we can't do anything about them. But what we can do is start having smarter ways to have more green space and have people grow their own food, because we do have a lot of food deserts in our area. And so I believe that if we are more smart about development and where and how we're developing our areas, and so that we're keeping as much green space as possible, and coming together, all of our cities coming together to make sure that we are creating smart ideas. I see Ms. Jenkins getting me. I think that that's definitely the way to go, is creating innovative ideas.
Thank you. Commissioner, same question. Climate change and global warming is a major topic being debated on the national level. What is your stance on climate change, and what role do you think the commission should play in preparing citizens for the impact of climate change?
Well, I certainly believe that climate change is real and that we need to do all that we can to be reducing our carbon footprint, and preserving and maintaining our resources, right? It's not rocket science. We've got to take care of what we have. It's just like your body. It's just like your mind. You have to take care of it or you lose it, right? And so we've got to do a better job of taking care of what we have so that we can continue to have it. When you look at climate change, there's not necessarily anything we can do, but I believe the scientists are saying, hey, reducing our carbon footprints, reducing the amount of resources that we are consuming being more conscious about the resources, using more natural resources, as is my understanding of some of the best practices that will help us prepare for climate change, or hopefully reduce the impact of climate change, or reduce how quickly the climate changes.
Thank you. We have received a few questions in from the online chat, so we'll go through a few of those now. And we'll start with you, Commissioner. Are there plans for single senior housing for the South Metro area? Not high rises, but single cottage style with small porches, washer dryer connections in each unit, community gardens on property, etc. And then there's a comment that says, not everyone wants to live in a high rise.
So what I would say to you is yes. Unfortunately, the developers are looking at South Fulton as a treasure trove for all types of development. But I think what we've got to do is be more conscious and more conscientious about how we allow that growth. We need to have more planning. It needs to be a plan. One of the problems we have now, each city adopts their own comprehensive plan. One of the reasons we have the warehouses is because Union City has a comprehensive plan that has warehouses. And the city of South Fulton's comprehensive plan doesn't have warehouses. And so we need more communication between borders. I mean, it's amazing. Union City allowed the building of a warehouse with a 0-foot buffer between the warehouse and someone's subdivision, someone's backyard. A 0-foot buffer, not a 5, 10, 50, or 100-foot buffer, a 0-foot buffer. There's something called common courtesy. There's something called decency. And that's what we need, and that's what we're lacking, and that's what I stand on, and that's what I stand for.
Thank you. Mr. Kelly, how well do you think you'll be able to work with the current chairman of Fulton County?
I think that I will be I will be able to work well with anyone. I'm someone that is very respectful. Even if I don't care for the person in general, even if I don't necessarily care for a person's personality. At the end of the day, we're here about the constituents, and I think that what I've seen in the current administration is that we've let things get too personal. There's too many egos flying around. And at the end of the day, I think that we've lost sight of what it's truly about at the end of the day. It's about the people. It's about how can we get stuff done for the people, regardless of who's bringing an item. It doesn't affect the people positively. If it does, I'm voting for it. It doesn't matter who's bringing it. If it's something that doesn't affect my constituents positively, then I won't vote for it. And I think that that's just how I move in general. I'm people focused. I'm people oriented. And if someone's bringing something that's going to impact the people, then I'm all for it, regardless of who's doing it. And that's how I roll as chief of staff, and that's how, hope prayerfully with your votes, how I'll move as the next District 5 commissioner.
Thank you. I'll stick with you, Mr. Kelly. What should be done to address violent crime in South Fulton County?
I think that's kind of a loaded question. I think that, and if I could just, because I know Ms. Jenkins is gonna get me, so I'm just gonna try to hit one area. I think youth. One of the major players of a lot of the crime that's happening in our area is the youth. I think that we need more youth initiatives. That's one of the big parts of my platform. We need people that understand what and why and how. We are in an environment where when I was growing up, you had a situation in school, it stayed at school. Now it doesn't stay at school anymore. You go home, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's on Instagram. And so we have to shift, in how we're addressing these issues, because it's not the same anymore. And so we need people that are gonna, go into these places, and I mentor many young males, and to let them understand about what conflict resolution means, about what it means to earn your keep at the end of the day, the value of a dollar at the end of the day, how to earn and be proud of earning so that you're not taking from someone else. And so I think just targeting youth initiatives would be one of my big impacts, and one of the areas I feel like we can definitely help to curb a lot of the crime we're seeing specifically in our area.
Thank you. Commissioner Arrington, what is taking so long to get hospitals in South Fulton County? That is all I have.
All right, well, you know, that is kind of a loaded question. You have to have a certificate of need in order to get a hospital, and in order to get a certificate of need, all of the other hospitals have to agree. And so we've got to put pressure on these hospitals to say, hey, we're human beings too. We deserve health care, just like the North Side. We deserve availability, abundance of health care. We deserve options in health care. And so, you know, the medical companies, the hospitals spend the money where they want to spend the money. And so we've got to do better. We've got to do a better job either of supplementing that money through county and government resources to make sure that we don't lose hospitals like Wellstar. And we've got to do more to attract the business, to attract these hospitals to come and to spend the money in our communities and to become partners in our communities.
Thank you. Next question, and this will be for both of you. What do you consider affordable housing? What's your definition of affordable housing? Mr. Kelly?
So I would say affordable housing, I think if we look at what the median income is, it's something that the median income of the demographics could afford. And so what I would say is that, you know, I'll say it like this. This is an easier way, so I don't have to go into API. I try to make things as basic as possible. Affordable housing is what the average man can afford. Can I keep it like that? Can I keep it simple? Instead of going to the technicalities, I mean, I could go into the API and all the numbers and statistics, but at the end of the day, you know, if you're working a 40-hour-a-week job, you should be able to live in a place that is comfortable and that's safe. And you should be able to afford that. And so when it comes to affordable housing, I would say, you know, someone that is working an average job, 40 hours a week, being able to live in a place that is decent and that is safe.
Same question, Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Same question, Commissioner. What do you consider affordable housing? What's your definition?
Well, I think there is affordable housing, and I think there's an image that a lot of people think of when they think of affordable housing, but I think there's also housing affordability. So we need housing affordability and we need affordable housing. When I think of affordable housing, I think of housing where a lot of people, multifamily housing that is affordable, where, you know, there's likely some type of rent control or cap on the amount of money that can be charged. And so I think about that, again, multifamily housing. And I think that is, you know, perhaps the image that a lot of people think of when they think of affordable housing. But I think that not only do we need affordable housing, but we need housing affordability. And for me, housing affordability is you living in your neighborhood where you want to live and making sure that those homes are affordable for you.
Thank you. Next question, and we'll start with Mr. Kelly. Describe at least 3 examples of your involvement in organized community activities in the last 4 years.
Sure. So we've done several turkey around Thanksgiving time. We've done several Thanksgiving giveaways where we've given food to to single mothers and a lot of individuals in our communities throughout South Fulton County. We do the same thing at Christmas. We anniversary where we give away toys to underprivileged kids that may not have, the ability to receive certain toys from their, their parents. I've done that every year. I do Hosea Feed the Hungry every year. Every year during the spring, we do a spring fling where we once again do toy drives. I do a lot of mentoring, to the schools up in the city of South Fulton, whether it's Hateful Charter. I have a great connection with many of the programs at the school where I go and volunteer my time to mentor young boys in the neighborhood. A lot of them come to several of the events in my area. And then as a church member, my being a minister, we go out very often and we give blankets to a lot of the people that are homeless, especially during the times that we know that it's going to be cold. And so in various aspects, I think it's kind of hard for me to pick one program because I believe that service of the community is an everyday thing. I'm always thinking about ways to impact my community. It doesn't take an event to impact the community. And so those are things that I've done in the past 4 years.
Thank you. Same question, Commissioner. Describe at least 3 examples of your involvement in organized community activities in the last 4 years.
Well, again, I host several signature initiatives out of my office, the Black History Film Festival, the It Takes a Village back to school contest where we organize back to school giveaways for our children, but we also do $10, $500 scholarships for college students. We do, the annual Right to Rise Summer Youth and Reading and Writing Workshop for middle and high school students where we give away $1,000. We do, I host an annual Blanket Atlanta with Love drive where we collect blankets and clothing for the homeless, and we do the giveaway for the children of the inmates at the Fulton County Jail. But I also serve on the board of the Sickle Cell Foundation and do great work on their behalf and have done so for the last 14 years. Additionally, I take my daughters every year and we go and we serve at Hosea Helps. And, it's a tradition that I had since law school. I would collect items at Emory Law School, canned goods, and take them down to Uncle Jose down on Peachtree and provide those items to him. And now I have my daughters, each year we go and serve for Hosea Helps. And each year we also participate in the annual Sickle Cell Road Race and Walk that takes place. It used to take place in Welcome for many years, and now it has moved to the city of East Point and Tri-Cities. And so I stay very active in my community on all those levels, in addition to serving on numerous boards and serving the community through those boards.
Thank you. Commissioner Harrington, last question. Other than President Barack Obama or Nelson Mandela, I see behind you, who is the elected official that you admire the most and why?
Oh, that's an easy question. Thank you for that question. The elected official that I admire the most would have to be my father, Marvin Harrington Sr. Just completed a documentary on him, and he is, a legend, an Atlanta legend. Grew up poor in the projects. Went to Turner High School with Hamilton Holmes and Charlene Hunter Gall. Went on to become the first Black to graduate from Emory Law School. He was elected an alderman in 1968 for the city of Atlanta. Served the city of Atlanta for 30 years, from 1968 to 1997 when he ran for mayor. in an unsuccessful bid, and then went on to serve the residents of Fulton County for 10 years. The role model that he set for myself and my sister was, a great standard. But more importantly, he taught me that to whom much is given, much is expected. And there, but for the grace of God, go I. And so you always have to think of others. And so absolutely Marvin Harrington Sr. Would be the elected official that I admire the most. However, Bishop Bronner says the most famous people were known by one name, and those titles don't mean anything. Moses, Jesus, Job. And so, again, elected official would be my dad.
Thank you. I'll just remind everyone to, if you're not speaking, put yourself on mute. Mr. Kelly, same question for you. Other than President Barack Obama or President Nelson Mandela, who is the elected official that you admire most and why?
That's an interesting question. I was like trying to rattle my brain, just trying to think of, and I'm someone that's open and transparent. So, that's a great question, because it's not one I've had recently. I was actually like, who would I really, who would be the most influential to me? And as an elected official, and I was trying to think of, what I say Ambassador Young, when I say, some of the great people that, Commissioner Emma I. Darnell, what I want to say, and I think just because she's had such an impact directly on me, is Commissioner Emma I. Darnell. And I say that not because I've worked with her, not only because I've worked with her directly. When you work so up close with someone and you begin to see just the heart and the compassion that they have for their community. My parents are from Jamaica. And so for a lot of the civil rights movement that happened in America, I didn't get that from my parents. And one of the things that she used to do as I would take her home from various events is that she would tell us about the Freedom Riders. She would tell me her experience of what it was like for her to experience the civil rights movement. And to get that type of history up close and personal, it had such a profound impact on me. And I mean, I actually ended up living for those moments. It didn't feel like I was a staff member. It felt like I was literally a 5-year-old, being poured into by someone that had so much just wisdom and knowledge. And so those moments really meant a lot to me, just beyond being able to work for her. So I would say one of the people that I was most impacted by would be Commissioner Emma I. Darnell.
Thank you. Okay, it's now time for you guys to have your closing thoughts, 2 minutes each. We will start with you, Mr. Kelly, your closing thoughts.
So once again, thank you so much for this opportunity to be here. At the end of the day, you all are the constituents and you are all of our bosses. And on May 24th, you have the opportunity to either continue the employment contract of the incumbent or bring in someone with new and fresh ideas to drive our community forward. And so for the incumbent anyway, this would be the end of year evaluation. I will say that if we looked at what has happened just over the past year, the incumbent has missed 247 votes just this past year, leaving him with a 67% voting record. You can look that up on the clerk's website. I used to work for the clerk, so I'm very familiar with that. He is someone that comes late, leaves early, and often sleeps at the meetings. Commissioner Harrington does have the most ethics complaints out of any current sitting member on the Board of Commissioners. You can look at that as well. Commissioner Harrington has cost the county millions of dollars in his current fees for his unethical behavior. In terms of him continuing being on the Board of Commissioners, I believe that he's a walking liability for Fulton County, and the taxpayers simply can't afford for him to stay in office. So I'm asking that on May 24th, that you terminate the employment contract of the incumbent and you vote for the only ethical choice, someone that has new and fresh ideas, the only South Fulton candidate. Like I said, we have 5 commissioners that currently live in Atlanta. We have 2 that live in North Fulton. We as South Fulton County, we need a voice. We need a voice that's going to represent us, one that understands that we do have environmental concerns that need to be addressed in South Fulton County. We need someone that does understand what it means to be respectful to all members of the Board of Commissioners, and that is willing to work with everyone on the Board of Commissioners, and that's not going to let personal feelings get involved or their ego get involved when it comes time to be about the people. And so I would ask you that on May 24th, that you select Robert H. Kelly to be your next Fulton County District 5 Commissioner. I have a heart of service. And I truly about the people of South Fulton County. And so I will end there. Thank you so much for your time. Please go to my website, robkellyforcommissioner.com. And I would love to engage with with all of you. I still have a lot more doors to knock on, so hopefully I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Arrington, you were called out directly, and so you have 2 minutes of rebuttal, 2 minutes of closing comment. I'll ask the timer to make sure that we put 4 minutes on the clock. Take yourself off mute, please.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. Thank you to the South Metro Democratic Women's Council for having me here today. I am proud to have served as your commissioner for the last 8 years, and I look forward to the opportunity to continue to serve as your commissioner for the next 4 years. I'm a lawyer, a single father, and a community servant. And again, I got to be commissioner based upon my work as a community servant. I have served my community throughout the years. Again, as a lawyer, not just someone that went to law school and didn't pass the bar. And not only did I pass the bar the first time, but I've been practicing law for 26 years. And I've been approved as a super lawyer, rated as a super lawyer by my colleagues. So you deserve better than someone that can't pass the bar. Again, I lived in the city of South Fulton from 2004 through 2018. And I now own a business and employ people in the city of South Fulton. And so in addition to my law office in the city of Atlanta, the word South Fulton is used as a red herring, is used as political bait. South Fulton is anything out south of I-20. That is South Fulton. And so there are several, at least 2, if not 3 commissioners that live south of I-20. But what is really being said is, oh, he doesn't live in the city of South Fulton. Well, I do not currently live in the city of South Fulton. I moved in 2018 after having a divorce. I moved 1 block over from the city of South Fulton. I'm literally a stone's throw away from Loch Lomond. But all of my children attended Fulton County schools. You see, I didn't tell Councilmember Corey Reeves that I moved to Fayette County because the schools were better for my children. My children attended Stonewall Tell Elementary School. My children attended Sandtown Middle School. My children attend Westlake. The Fulton County schools and Atlanta public schools are good enough for my children. I don't have to move out of another county to try to find better schools for my children. I work within the schools to make them better. I work with the teachers, the parents, and the staff to make them better. And so I ask, and I hope that I have earned your support. I hope that I have earned your vote through my record of service to the community, my 8-year record of service as commissioner, and my record of service prior to becoming commissioner in 2015. We have a long way to go, but we have come a long way. When I first started, I got the raise in 2016. I got Fulton County employees a raise to $15 an hour. I did that in 2016. So at 1 year after being on the commission. Additionally, I have learned to work well with my colleagues. You can't get anything done if you don't work well with your colleagues. You can't get anything done if you're attacking them. Let there be no mistake. We currently have a hostile work environment. For the last year, we have had a hostile work environment in Fulton County. But that is because of the addition of the latest commissioner. I've been there for 8 years, and there has never been a time when we've had such a hostile work environment. Typically, people are collegial and cordial. And what we are seeing today is shameful. It's absolutely shameful, the type of attacks and character assassinations that are being undertaken. I stand on my record. I stand on my history, and I ask for your vote, your support, and your prayers.
Thank you. Well, gentlemen, that takes us to the end of the Q&A portion of this event. I thank you both for your time, your attention, your thoughtful and considerate responses. And I believe you gave our viewing audience quite a bit of insight into your candidacy and what you could do for our district. And with that, I will turn it over to our president, Ms. Gloria Jenkins.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher, and a special thank you to each of our candidates, Commissioner Harrington and Mr. Kelly. You've put forth your case for this evening, and all of our voters who are listening and viewing will be making their decision. We're doing our best to educate our voters on how to vet candidates. And you don't do that by coddling them. You ask them the hard questions. You ask them the questions that you want the answer to. It does not do anyone any good to sit at home and ask the question to a spouse or a friend or your children. Ask the question of the candidate. And with that, I'd like to make a few announcements. Number one, of course, we are still in our early voting stage. And when you go to vote, once you put your card in and make your choices, when they give you that slip of paper of what you have voted, be sure you check it thoroughly, because it doesn't always come out right. What you put in does not always come out. So be sure you check your ballot before you put it in the scanner. Number two, before you go to vote, please pull up your sample ballot by going to mvp.sos.ga.gov. Put in your information, and when that comes up, down in the lower right-hand corner, it asks you if you want to see a sample ballot. That is the only way you will know who you vote for when you go to the polls, because of the new redistricting. Things have changed. We're not getting notification all the time or on time. So it's up to us individually to keep up with what's going on. We have on May 17th, we will be co-sponsoring a forum with Representative Mandija Thomas. And this forum will be with the Agricultural Commission candidates. So you will be receiving a flyer on that, and it will be at the Urban Farm in College Park, just as you are coming into College Park from East Point, but the flyer will be coming. Now we should have something to share on our screen. If your pocket's got a hole in it and you need a little bit of money or something to patch it up, there's tomorrow a poll workers recruitment fair, and you can make up to $275 a day. I said up to that amount. So please look at this information. It's going to be at Burdette Park from 3 to 7 on tomorrow. If you are interested or you know somebody else that's interested or we all need some funds, go take a look. This will help us save our democracy. Thank you, candidates, again for joining us. To our viewing audience, a special thank you to you as well. We appreciate you helping us reach our goals of educating our communities and our voters. Thank you, and with the one closing remark, if we stand together, we will win the battle for the soul of this nation. Have a good evening and look for us on Thursday night for our forum for District 67, 68, and 69. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. Good evening.
Thank you so much.